Hello and Happy New Year. It is time for another episode of the Portsmouth Comic Con podcast. And I've got two very special and unique guests that will be coming to Portsmouth Comic Con this year. It is the wonderful Ogretones. Well, some of the Ogretones. Gentlemen, welcome to the chat.
Thank you very much. Cheers for having us.
Us, Luke. No. So we have Andy and Dave, two of the wonderful members of the Ogretones. We're going to have a little deep dive into you and everything that you do. I'm loving it so far. As an experience goes, I mean, this is right up my alley. I've got two nieces that adore Shrek. I adore Shrek. If you don't like Shrek, to me, a little bit of a red flag, if I can be honest. But if we can, first of all, before we get into your appearance at Portsmouth Comic Con this year, let's talk about the Ogretones. What's the origin story there?
Okay, I can probably field that one because it was my stupid idea in the first place. I used to be in a function band before this one. I've done kind of a few odd bands over the years, kind of, pubs, weddings, that kind of thing. And at one particular gig, I remember being backstage before we went on to play this show. And I was scanning down the set list, as you do, kind of prepping for what we were about to do. And it occurred to me as I was looking at the names of the songs, I thought to myself, I'm sure a good number of these songs have all been in the Shrek films. And they're all bangers, they all go down well. Everybody loves them, which got me thinking, okay, actually, is there a market out there? Is there mileage in a band that only plays songs from the Shrek films? And it turns out there is.
There is. I mean, I've seen the videos from your gigs, and it's an experience to say the least, which is something I'm looking forward to experiencing at Portsmouth Comic Con this year. And it's not just a trio. There is a whole gaggle of the Ogretones. I mean, we couldn't get them all here tonight. It would be a little bit chaotic, but let's go through the whole group. Let's do a whole sort of an introduction to everyone that's playing.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. There are normally significantly more of us than we have here. So obviously you've got myself, you've got Dave here, our resident donkey as well.
Yes.
We've got a Princess Fiona who sings alongside me. We've got Big Bad Wolf on the drums. We've got Gingerbread Man playing the keys. We've got the Three Blind Mice are our horn section as well. And this might end up being the first time this is ever announced publicly. So what a scoop for you.
Thank you.
And by the time we get to Portsmouth Comic Con, we are going to be a 9-piece. We do also have Puss in Boots joining us on lead guitar for this year.
Fantastic news. I was going to say you're missing a few members. I mean, the Shrek Rogues Gallery, as it were. There's lots of fantastic characters that could attend, but you've got the big ones there, which is fantastic. So yes, we've got Dave Donkey. Hello, sir. All right.
Hello.
There's no ears tonight. I'm upset about that. You look good in those ears, but it's okay.
We realised that both sets, because there are two sets, just for backup, they're both in the tour van. They are not here at my house. And we realised this must have been maybe 10, 15 minutes before this call. Isn't that right, Andy? Something like that.
Yeah,
like that. We that's not actually our usual level of this organisation, but it's
fine. It's a casual night. We're talking about the band.
Christmas, New Year, these things. We also then subsequently realised that actually, I don't know if you can. Yeah, you can see if I do that.
I can see the ears.
Yeah, but the hat's got ears on, which actually had Dave had his ears on, I suspect the filter probably would have chopped them off anyway. So
yes, but
we were fighting losing battle from the start, really.
Yeah, I think there was one filter on Zoom which almost did it, but it's the rabbit filter.
That's close to it.
It just about works. I think if I do a little bit of magic
if I put my hand there and cover your mouth and nose, it works to a certain degree. Yeah, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, there you go.
Slightly distracting, but it works. Talking about donkeys, this episode will be going out in a few weeks. The world was hit with some rather sad Shrek news yesterday.
Very sad.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea about this fun. Well, it was a fun fact, not so much anymore. But the donkey that was sort of, inspired the Shrek donkey, sadly passed away yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's all hard. I'm going to say actually, it's all very hard.
But
rest in peace, Perry.
Yes, rest in peace, Perry, as it were. I'm sure there's going to be a few tribute gigs that you can do, a few candlelight vigils. But the Ogretones, let's talk more about that before we tackle Portsmouth Comic Con. How long's this been going on for?
Well, it must be about a year and a half now, mustn't it?
Or yeah, it sort of depends on how you define the question, doesn't it? I think
Oh,
Yeah,
we've been
yeah.
playing shows for just over a year and a half.
okay.
Yeah, debut was June the 16th,
16.
2023, back in Winchester. Played our first
The
ever show
Railway Inn.
at the Railway
Nice.
Inn.
Local. Yeah, we like that.
Absolute legends over there. Yeah, so yeah, just over a year and a half. I think before that, keep me honest here, Dave, maybe a year to a year and a half of rehearsing and putting the show together and recruiting as well.
I think about a year. Yeah, because I think it was summer of 2022 or 23.
Yeah, that sounds right.
2022, something like that. I remember I think we went to the Hampshire Bowman pub, and that's when I met Joe. I think he was our gingerbread man. And I think Jamie was there as well, wasn't he? Jamie came with me.
Nice little pint in the sunshine and sort of.
That's a big bad wolf. And that kind of was the first four, wasn't it? I suppose because I think you'd met Joe before, Andy, hadn't you? Through Petersfield music scene, which is bustling, by the way. Yeah.
But I haven't actually played with him until Luke, you'll enjoy this. We actually held auditions.
That was my next question. Was there an audition process? That is fantastic.
Which, as you can imagine, was one of the weirdest days of most people's lives. So I put out a post on social media, put out an advert, kind of saying, "Look, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to start this band, and these are the musicians that I need." And I had loads of people respond, which was awesome to see. And then held auditions, which, yeah, as you can imagine, very strange, kind of walking into a rehearsal studio and going, "Hello, I'm here for the Shrek band." And I got incredibly lucky. Had some really, really talented musicians turn up on the day. A lot of it just clicked. And as Dave says, that was very much the core lineup sorted.
I remember me and Jamie, the drummer, we actually auditioned simultaneously. We were exactly the same time because it was, as I say, Andy started the band, and then there's the group of us that kind of came to audition. That was Casemates in Portsmouth.
In Portsmouth, as it happens, yeah. So there you go. The band sort of started in Portsmouth. If you.
I suppose it did, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah,
we'll take that. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to have a little chat with the council, see if we can get a blue plaque outside that pub. We need to celebrate that momentous occasion. What was it like though for that when you were, you had your first rehearsals were done, you got your first gig, as it were. How did you all gel before that moment?
I'd say surprisingly well, given how many of us there are. I think both me and Andy have been in lots of bands before. Your classic indie rock bands that you form when you're in your late teens and so on, through to the metal phase that comes immediately afterwards.
Yes.
Any musicians watching will know exactly what I mean by that. And then you get to your mid-20s and you're like, oh well, I better try and make some money from this. So and then I think a lot of us were in the same boat really when that time came round. So the band as it formed, I think we all want the same thing out of it, which is number one is musical fulfillment, but yeah, it's also we take it seriously, I think we pretty much all want it to be our job. So
not a bad job. I mean, because as you said, there are some absolute bangers over the Shrek universe when it comes to those movies and the musical now as well. So it's an impressive set list. Are there, songs that aren't in the Shrek universe that you would love to play as a group?
So, the short answer is yes. There are plenty of songs out there that we would love to. The longer answer is we're not going to.
Okay, you're keeping it true.
We've sort of drawn the line in the sand, or made the line of sticks through the swamp, as it were. Very clearly, kind of stated that boundary. If it's not somehow, there's some tenuous ones. Don't get me wrong. We've got a few songs in the set which weren't actually technically in the films, but they were in the Shrek 2 bonus DVD feature, "Far, Far Away, Idle," and we figured that was close enough, so we've popped those.
No, the technicality there behind that was like actually it did feature in the behind the scenes. Yeah. It was playing. It was playing in a radio in the recording studio, so we're having that. I love that.
And there's a couple where like Donkey sings a line of it, and we, as far as we're concerned, that's enough. So it's in the set.
That's canon.
Like on the road again. On the road again is a classic case of that. But it's good though, because it's those really obscure songs that they dropped into the script that expands, I think, the appeal of the set list. It's not just modern tracks, brand new songs. There's
timeless and universal. Yeah.
Well, on the road again and I'm a Believer, 1960s, I believe, possibly.
But there's other tracks in there as well, as you said, that just get mentioned. I think there's a moment when Donkey starts singing "Cats in the Cradle," and so there's songs there that work. And I mean, with as always, there are certain internet rumors about things that might and might not happen, and there is talk of perhaps a Shrek 4. So you've got that out there. Shrek 5, or yes, thank you for correcting me, Shrek.
July 2026.
See, so the tour, then I can see you guys at the premiere, on the green carpet, as it were, not a red one. It's got to be green for that.
That's green, yeah.
It better be.
So if anyone from DreamWorks is currently listening to this podcast,
I hope they
are available in July 2026. And if there is some sort of premiere event, we would absolutely love to play it.
Right. There's a mission. We can make that happen there. Listen, I can't sing. I can't dance. I can play the heck out of a triangle. So I can do that quite well. So I've got elements there of Donkey that I could bring to the band, but
luckily there's plenty of characters that we haven't yet filled. So there's room. We can become a 10-piece, 11-piece, 12-piece.
More. Do the roar. There's so much there that you could bring to it though as well. Many characters. We'll hook
you up with one of those sort of big lollipop things, and you can.
I've got some little shorts somewhere for some reason, but we'll make that happen. But I'm looking forward to seeing how Portsmouth Comic Con audience react to this, though, because what I've seen at the event over the years is just so much fun. Whether it's the Comic Con parade, or they have had dancing sessions and musical sessions, I think with this, everyone knows the songs from Shrek. Everyone knows the characters from Shrek, and I'm sure there's going to be some cosplayers there that will fit in perfectly. But I'm looking forward to it, especially
I really hope that's the case. I think especially something like Comic-Con, like you say, it's got that kind of fun vibe to it anyway. Cosplay is such a key part of any kind of Comic-Con event, and it's something that we've already seen at a lot of our shows. Is the number of times I've looked out into the audience and almost been a little bit dispirited at the fact that most of their costumes are better than ours. It's quite baffling. The amount of effort that people go to is genuinely heartwarming. And it's always such a good vibe.
And I've seen that it's sort of in the live videos, but also your music videos as well. You all get really into it, and all those videos can be found on your website. The links will be below, but it's clearly you're all having so much fun on stage, performing the songs that you all know and love, but performing to that crowd as well. Dave, what's been some of your favorite memories from performing with the Ogretones?
Favorite memories from performing. I think I must say, I think it's definitely the people who go absolutely just over the line with their costumes, and we've seen quite a few of them now where you get someone who properly, does a proper Shrek costume and it looks proper convincing, and they run to the front and they just completely forget about the outside world for the entire show. Those, I think it happens. It's happening on an increasingly regular basis. You get these kind of people who go really, really crazy with their costume, and then at the show they bring the energy as well to match the effort in the costume. That's where I love it. You see them doing that, and you know that you're bringing joy to someone, and that's actually that's surprisingly rewarding feeling. It's because you don't often get that. Again, it's kind of one of the few advantages of a covers band as opposed to an originals band, I would say. As far as from a performance aspect, is you can feel in the room that there are people seriously enjoying themselves. You don't often get that with an original band unless you become very, very successful and you write very, very good songs, which is seriously hard to do with the amount that's out there. So yeah, I think that's it. I think a few shows that were the highlight of that for me. There were a few we played up there. I think the one in Stockport that we played, there was a chap there who'd done an excellent Shrek costume.
He'd gone
and there was in London, Between the Bridges.
Some of those costumes were absolutely mad. I'm
too many
pretty
to
sure
count
there's
there.
still, I think there's a reel somewhere on our Instagram.
Okay.
You go at the Ogretones. I think it's fourth, fifth, maybe sixth down, something like that. From our, as Dave says, there was a whole reel of kind of rating and judging some of the costumes that we saw, and some of them were absolutely mad.
I mean, that's what I like about the fact that, sometimes you do go to shows, whether it be a Taylor Swift concert or any concert, when there's some sort of audience participation involved, it makes it more than just going and listening to these songs that you adore and have listened to hundreds of times before. So for that, to see these characters from the films that you are helping celebrate, it must be a beautiful moment. But for Andy, for Shrek, what's been some of your rock and roll moments been on that stage that have just really stuck with you?
I don't know about rock and roll moments. I think in terms of just moments that have really stuck with me, Dave's absolutely right. He's bang on when he talks about the joy in the room that you get, and that feeling of sort of throughout the show, you can really sense that everyone's there together and for the same thing, and on that kind of same wavelength. There is just that general sense of joy and happiness about the whole thing, which is amazing. Until we sort of kill the mood, and actually the bit that's definitely stuck with me from the first show that we played, I mentioned back in Winchester. We, of course, because it's an absolute classic from the first film, we do a version of Hallelujah.
Thank you. That was going to be one of my very last questions. So you beat me to the post.
It had to go in there.
Gorgeous cover.
Spoiler alert.
That's all right. I'll allow it.
I think people knew it was probably coming.
I was hoping so. Yeah.
But I remember the first time that we did it at Winchester, and just the atmosphere in the room. We had, lighters in the air, people singing along. There was a whole row of people at the back that had linked arms and just started singing it at each other. And the camaraderie and the bond felt by everyone in the room at the time. Like, it sounds really sort of weepy and over self-indulgent, but it hit me way harder than I was expecting it to. So that's almost a highlight at every gig that we do. There's like a moment when everyone comes together, and it's palpable. It's really good.
I mean, it's an iconic song, and I think going back when I watched Shrek for the first time, you're thinking, really? They're going with this? And I think you get that with a lot of the musical choices throughout the franchise, but they all work. Whether it be, a fun classic song where everyone can join in, or a song like Hallelujah that just grabs the heartstrings. So I'm glad that you brought that to your set list as well. And of course, as I just spotted that in the background there, the layers of an onion. Look at that.
What you're talking about.
I thought I saw it just come across the screen. I was making sure I did actually, in fact, see that there. So are there props involved in the live show as well, now that there's an onion coming across the screen?
Well,
there's a couple of bits and pieces here and there. We did at one of our shows, we attempted to sell onions on the merch stand.
Okay.
We thought that'd be really funny, and it turns out nobody else thought it was really funny, and we sold absolutely none. So we probably won't do that again.
I mean, maybe some foam onions to throw around the audience, because you don't want that element of a cabbage or an onion being thrown at the set. You don't want that.
It could be a bit dangerous.
It did surprise me though, because Posy lives and all that. I think scratch cooking is an incredibly important skill to build, and Shrek tribute band aside, get yourself some onions, and honestly, so useful, so versatile.
That's it.
You can start so many different sauces, bolognese. You can do all sorts of French onion soup.
Of course, anyway. Anything smelly or with onion soup, we're there. We're the Shrek's home brand. That's what I love about that. So, what is it when you, if we to sort of to go back in time and remember when you first watched the Shrek movie? For me, it was quite some time ago. Did you ever consider, one day you might be in a band playing this music, representing these wonderful characters?
So I don't think it ever occurred to me as a child. I think it's probably reasonable and fair to say that I've seen the first 45 minutes of Shrek more than any other film in the world, mainly because I was the perfect generation that at secondary school, you would get to the end of term, those last few lessons on the last few days when the teachers can't be bothered anymore, and what they would do is they would wheel in the VCR player, just about that old to have the VCR player in school with the TV, and they would pop in whatever video they had. And it just so happened that for whatever reason, most of the teachers had a copy of Shrek. So there was at least one day where I watched the first 45 minutes, finished the lesson, went to the next lesson, and watched the first 45 minutes again. So yeah, for a couple of years there, it was firmly ingrained in the mind.
Where's the Duloc song in that, Andy? That's within the first 45.
Annoyingly, that is within the first 45 minutes. So yeah, that was
That's a shame. I mean, oh no, it's a really good song. Yeah, we love it. It sounds great. Yeah, it's not repetitive at all.
A special corner of my brain.
Really, I mean, you are going to get those earworms though, where you just think, oh, not that song again. But then when you look out in the audience and see those many faces looking back, many dressed up, you think, okay, this is why we're doing it. This is this wonderful idea that, you know, it's a surreal idea to get in one's head. So I appreciate you for that, to have that idea and then to make it a reality. And I mean, I hope, again, as you said, we got that big film coming out. Hopefully the powers that be do see this passion that you have brought to the franchise. And hopefully, who knows, maybe Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy as well, because they love their fans. And, you know, I think Mike Myers' passion for Shrek going back, you know, even I think he tried quite hard to input his own creativity into the role and bring it to life and change certain directorial choices, especially when it comes to that Scottish accent.
Well, yeah, because he taught himself that for a certain character in Austin Powers.
Yes,
and
that one.
Shrek's original accent was just his normal voice. It was his Canadian accent, and then what didn't really gel with the film. I think, to be honest, I think it's that kind of medieval imagery plus Canadian accent. It just doesn't. I think it's a bit like the Uncanny Valley.
Yes.
And I think so he was like, oh well, I've just done this Scottish accent in Austin Powers 3 films. Why don't I try that? And he tried it, and we have Shrek. You know, the character was born. That's some more Shrek lore for you.
We like all that. We like that. You know, that's what we want. You want those facts. Maybe someone coming out between each song and just giving out some more deep dive facts about the Shrek universe and how it's all come to be at one point. But that's what I love. I mean, because you've got to love this film to be in the Ogretones. You can't just be a little fan. You need to be a big fan of it. So, and I mean, there's lots of merchandise that's come out over the years as well. Have you got any favorite pieces of merch in your collections?
I mean, this is part shamelessly plug the fact that I've got favorite pieces of merch from our collections.
Well, crack away, my man. This is your time to shine. Yeah. Do it. What's your merch that you love?
So we've actually literally just launched a brand new t-shirt design. We had one last year. We had the you've probably seen the black t-shirt with the green smiley design on it.
Yes.
And we decided that we needed another one. And we got so fed up of our blind mice stealing the show every gig that we performed. We thought we'd probably put them on.
They're great. We actually love them.
Yeah, fan favorites every single time. Not that I'm bitter about it, but yeah, we have a brand new t-shirt now. It's loosely based, should we say, on the famous Abbey Road design, and it features our 3 blind mice and our gingerbread man having a walk across.
It's actually a parody of the Abbey Road design.
That's the one. That's the word. Yeah, which makes it fair use. So we'll have no cease and desists. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. But that's it. But I mean, I'm sure they do steal the show. I mean, you know, whenever you get 3 band members together that, you know, they're always there. They have to stand next to each other to look the part. There's going to be a different type of bond there than the rest of the group. So, I mean, I'm sure they're really quite crafty.
They call it the rat nest.
Really? That's not bad. That's a very Pratchett. That's it. We like that.
That's all we're going to give away. They call it the rat nest. That's what they call it.
Okay, yeah. For some stuff that probably won't make it onto the podcast, I will look forward to that. To speaking with the boys when they perform later on in the year. Do you have any pre-show rituals before you go on stage?
Yeah, and so everyone in the band has to chop and eat a raw onion.
Fantastic.
Start to stem to tip, start to finish.
Wonderful. Do you do meet and greets after? I hope not.
No, so we do the meet and greets. We don't
Wonderful.
do the onion part of it.
Thank you.
Do pre-show rituals. I mean, beyond the sort of the standard boring, you know, warm everything up, make sure vocal cords and fingers and arms and everything else is in full working order.
We like that.
I'm afraid it is very boring. I personally use John Mayung's progressive bass concept warm-up exercises from a mid-90s VHS series that John Mayung, the bass player from Dream Theater, put out. He has his full warm-up in that. Absolutely spot on. You'll get through 3 hours of playing with that, no problem.
You are definitely the bass player, Dave. Definitely the bass player.
Right, so.
Love that, though. Love that commitment to the bit. That's fantastic. Now, we don't want to spoil all information about this performance, but when you are performing live around the country, do you have an encore situation? And what do you play in that situation?
Can we reveal that?
That's what I'm just wondering. I think I'm going to leave it as yes, we have an encore situation.
Okay.
We do almost always play an encore at most of the shows that we do. If there is a famous song from the Shrek series that you're a big fan of and you haven't heard it by the time we get to our last song, it probably means it's not our last song.
Don't leave just yet. Don't open those doors just yet. If you've not heard it, do that. It.
If there's a song we haven't played and you're desperate to hear it, all you've got to do is chant the words "one more song" loud enough, and eventually,
more audience participation. A few years ago, I got to attend a John Williams concert, and I was so excited because it was just pretty much a mega mix of all Williams' greatest hits. And on the front of the brochure and all the tickets was the Superman logo. I was like, I can't wait. They're going to play the Superman logo. And intermission hadn't happened. Towards the end, hadn't happened. And I genuinely thought for a brief moment, they're not going to play it. Oh, this review's going to be fuming when I finish this performance. And then the conductor came back out in a Superman t-shirt. And big sigh of relief. My red pen went back in my pocket. And it was all good after that. Because we all love an encore. What's happening for you this year, guys? You know, we got this tour that's going on. What are you looking forward to apart from Portsmouth Comic Con, of course?
Well, obviously the highlight being Portsmouth Comic Con.
Good boy.
Other than that, we was having a look through the diary actually just before we came on here, and not counting Portsmouth Comic Con, there are I think 34 other shows we've got booked in.
That's between now and August. Now and September.
Yeah, September. So there's room in the diary for more if anyone's interested. But yeah, there's some festivals in there. There's some private shows in there. We got a few weddings and things coming up. We're going kind of all over the country again. We're going to be piling everything into a van and hitting the road. Yep. So yeah, it's going to be a really exciting 2025.
Yeah. So there's a lot of you. So what's the travel like situation for that? Is it one big coach or has everyone got their own vehicles?
No, it's everyone gets pretty cozy. We've just about managed to minimize it enough. We can do it in 2 vehicles if we're clever about it. 3 is a lot more comfy, but obviously a lot more expensive on the fuel front.
Yes.
And of course we can't leave any of our gear in our vehicles either. So it gets pretty complex. You know, like often going to a hotel, they don't want you carrying in a whole load of flight cases of gear. So we often end up in Airbnbs or something like that, and we're kind of carting in, loads of gear, lock up the van.
But I think if I was doing a late night shift in a travel lodge, I would be more than happy to see you all come rolling in full costume. I mean, I'd have to make sure that, I wasn't actually hallucinating and seeing the big bad wolf come through the hotel lobby with 3 blind mice shuffling behind, causing trouble. But yes, as you said, it is festival season. Festivals are becoming a big thing, and down this way in Portsmouth, we've got Victorious, which has been kicking off the last few years. So hopefully next year, you never know, you might be coming back down here again because the Victorious has got a fantastic, much like the Comic Con, a big family base to it. Very inclusive. Everyone comes down, has a lot of fun, and I think the Ogretones could fit in rather well down this way, especially with next.
Love Victorious. Played a very small stage of Victorious, probably in 2019 with my old band. On a little, kind of up and coming stage, kind of thing. But it was good though because it was positioned right in front of a huge. There's a huge 2 big rows of food stands either side, and then some tables, and in a big crowd area. So it was actually quite a big area, and there were a lot of people showed up. I think they were very clever to put, kind of a local band stage in a place like that because you're definitely going to get heard. And sold quite a few CDs there. So
see, that's always good. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, they've had some very big names of Victorious over the years, and they're continuing to do that, but they still have that underlying, unsigned acts, people that are up and comers, young performers. They've got a lot of theatre groups working there now as well. But as you said, it's right by the food core area, as it were, for some fantastic Korean hot dogs and beautiful curry dishes. That is normally when I'm at Victorious, you can find me in that area.
That's where you're going to be. Okay.
Food and live music. You can't really go wrong with that situation. But I'm looking forward to Portsmouth Comic Con for many reasons. There's always something new there each year. They always try and push the boundaries a little bit and try something fun. And this, I feel, is going to work really well. I mean, I've seen it start since 2018, and it's a different sort of experience as Comic-Cons go. And I love the fact that it is for the fandoms, and there are so many different characters walking around that event over the weekend. So hopefully when you're not performing, you get the chance to walk around and interact with characters, because everyone loves a selfie at a Comic-Con. And I think you guys are all going to be very, very busy.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. What was the best costume you saw last year?
Now, one year I did see a skateboarding Jesus, which was very interesting. But as a Superman fan, you don't get many from that area of the DC world. But last year there was a fantastic Superman cosplayer, Mo, who have come quite good friends with, and he's going to be returning this year. And I think with the new Superman film coming out, there's going to be a lot more of that. But it's the niche characters that you see there now. It's the mums and dads that are bringing their kids, but they want to get involved and wear something fun from the cartoons, something that's a bit more out there. And I've seen people from Fraggle Rock. I've seen people from Wurzel Gummidge. It's the really stuff that you wouldn't really remember. And a lot of times you would see people explaining their costume. And I like that, because there's a lot of characters out there that I don't know. So I went one year with my niece. She was really into manga and anime, and she went as a character that I wasn't aware of, but she looked fantastic. And it was her first con, and she went there and she was getting stopped for photographs, and people were asking her about her costume. And that's one of the mad things that I love about cosplay. So I think when more people find out that you're coming, I'm hoping we're going to see a lot more Shreks there, because he's definitely got sort of a cult following over the last couple of years. So you've all chosen a very good time to start an Ogretones Shrek appreciation group.
I think what's often quite fun with Comic-Cons with the cosplayers, I don't know whether you've seen this at the ones in Portsmouth over the years, I always really like the mashup costumes. Ones where somebody kind of takes a concept from somewhere and pops it onto something else. So I think that's the challenge we'll issue to your listeners, is if anyone can take Shrek and mash it up with something else. That would be
that's a challenge now.
That's something we'd like to see.
There is, sort of, and that's what I love about cons as well. When you get two characters that you would never normally see together, either battling it off or having a fantastic photo op next to an ice cream van. I did see Darth Vader and Kill Bill a few years ago. Just have an ice cream. Characters that you wouldn't normally see together, and you wouldn't see them in films due to so many different IP laws. But that's the great thing about cosplay, and you will see a lot of that at Portsmouth Comic Con. And it's getting closer. It's one of my favorite weekends of the year, and normally you blink and you'll miss it. So it's going to be a fun old time, and I'm sure more information about your performance will be shared over their socials over the upcoming months. But what's it like for you to be on that stage, though, and to see those fans of the franchise looking back? Because you've got a responsibility to not only the rest of the band and to the Shrek lore. What's it like being a part of the Shrek tapestry, as it were?
Kind of surreal, I think the best word would be for it. Not in kind of like it's like omnipresent. You almost don't think about it. It's very weird. But I think because of that, you kind of I'm trying to think of a good way to describe it, Andy.
I think it's fair to say it is incredibly weird, but because everyone in the room simultaneously embraces the weirdness, it stops weird. Being weird.
It's good weird. I think as a band, I think we all pretty much fall into the kind of good weird category. And we like to think that I mean, the world could be a very boring place sometimes, especially if you work in IT. And the same with Andy. So,
there we go.
And yeah, like it's great, a great circuit breaker. It's a great release of I think a lot of pent up boredom that I think we all have. In many ways, you listen to some live music; it's a very visceral live experience.
Yeah.
And when you combine it with something like Shrek, which has a brilliant message as well, and brilliant art style in the films, and it's just so well thought out as a concept as well. I just think it all gels together very nicely. But yeah, it's a I think my in one word I would say it's surreal. I think that's how it feels, but not necessarily in the way that you would expect surreal to be defined. It's just it's a good weird surreal.
It just works. It works is what I like about it. Is the fact you've all put so much thought into how you're represented on stage and how you clearly have got a passion for the music, is what I like. It's not just we've learnt these songs because they're from the Shrek films. You've learnt these songs because you know that they mean something to the story, but they mean something to the audience as well. So
yeah, we chose it because I'm going to make quite a bold statement here and go out on a limb and say I think most people would agree the Shrek film soundtracks are the greatest film soundtracks of all time. And you mentioned before the kind of the responsibility that we have. I think we almost we have a duty to perform those film soundtracks to the best of our ability. And the kind of the caveat that we make, the agreement we have with the audience is that they're going to come with us on that weird journey. And actually, if we all show up and we all do our job, everyone has a great time. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm getting that just by seeing just a few of the clips that you've shared online and to your YouTube page. Is that it's not a sit down event. You could sit down if you wanted to enjoy it, but you're going to get on the floor. You're going to be dancing. You're going to be jumping up and down and laughing at memories of this fantastic film. But as you said, the fantastic soundtrack. I mean, over all those films, there's been some absolute bangers, as you say. It's sort of like James Gunn often makes a fantastic soundtrack. He's got those music picks that he puts in there, and they either grab you emotionally or they make you jump out of your chair with excitement. But over the Shrek films as well, the whole team have picked those tracks out. It's perfect. And I think now they've got a lot of pressure to do that, perhaps with Shrek 5. So I'm hoping that we do get more of that in the future, so that your tour goes on for even longer, and sadly you've got even more songs to learn.
Would be nice. Yeah, we're not looking forward to having to add another 5 or 6 or however many songs there end up being to the set list. But as you say, I think it will be worth it because I think they know the legacy that they've kind of got to live up to. And they've done such a stellar job of picking the tracks for the 4 films so far that I think there's almost no way they can get it wrong because they know what's doing that.
Yeah,
they do need to handle it with care, though. I must say, you see, because there's some remakes coming out these days which maybe not as up to the mark, but but I think Shrek 5 they do have a big responsibility there, and I think if they are. If they're serious about it, I think they'll do it justice. But who knows? Who knows what will happen? I keep an open mind.
Good, yeah. and I think that's the best way to be about it. Because I mean, sometimes you never know. 10, 25 years down the line, this film might get another sequel. But if that dreadful day happened when the last ever Shrek movie was created, what song do you think they should end their franchise with?
I mean.
It's a proper on the spot question.
Wasn't it? Sorry, I said this was going to be laid back. I apologize.
If they're going to go full hardcore, it's definitely the end. We're never doing another one. We're never coming back from this. I think it has to be the most tear-inducing piano ballad version of All Star.
Oh,
yeah. Bookend it.
Yeah,
proper tearjerker.
Get Rufus Wainwright back. Just sit him down at the keys.
Yeah. Just have a word.
Have a word. Yeah, get Rufus back. He'll want some work. He's always touring, bless him. But nice pick. Any picks there for you, Dave, that you'd like to hear?
I was trying to figure it out. I think I think Let It Be might be a good track.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't had a Beatles one in there.
Because I think that
Paul McCartney track, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah. They'll have wings like in the next ones. That'll be fine.
I do wonder about that song just because of the lyrical content. I think would gel quite nicely with the end of Shrek. But then I don't know. I mean, as I said, they'd have such a job to pick a song like that. I think Andy's suggestion is probably the better one. Actually, I think a really slow tempo, reverby piano. Get the get a concert grand in. With my car, take it down room 2 at Abbey Road, and record it properly.
But that's it. I think everyone's got that. Smash Mouth now with that. That's their bread and butter now. They've not done bad out of the Shrek soundtrack. A lot of bands have got some fantastic royalties out of this movie franchise. But there are songs now that when you hear them, you think, oh, this is a song from Shrek. There are many artists and bands out there thinking, actually, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into that song, and now it's associated with an animated movie. But some people don't understand how deeply attached we can get to these movies, as we've seen with your audience. So you've done some fantastic work over the years, and you're going to be doing even more in the future. So thank you for your time today, gentlemen. Where can people find the magnificent Ogretones online?
So there's our website, theogretones.com. I think good start.
Yeah, we're also on all social media channels. We are at the Ogretones. We got in quick and managed to claim it on all of them. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, doesn't matter. Pick your poison. We are at the Ogretones on all of those channels. Drop us a follow, drop us a like, drop us a DM if you fancy, and hopefully, get yourself a ticket to a show.
And it's not just dormant. It's not just dormant social media pages like you sometimes get. We post memes, we post stories. We try to keep it engaging for people. We don't want you to kind of completely waste your time on social media. It needs to be
fun. But you're not just you're promoting your next gig, but you're also keeping that fan base engaged. And that's where actually I found out that sad news about the sad passing of the donkey yesterday was from your page. So thank you for just digging that knife in the heart a little bit more yesterday.
Yeah, occasionally we'll share things that upset you as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's nice. We like that.
Full spectrum of emotions, just like our shows.
Oh, bravo to you, Donkey. That was wonderful stuff. Well, guys, I'm really looking forward to seeing you when you come down to Portsmouth. We'll have to meet up for a mini interview halfway through the con to see how you are enjoying it. But thank you so much for your time today. And we'll all be seeing you soon at Portsmouth Comic Con on the 3rd and 4th of May.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We'll see you there.
Take care.
Thank you, Luke. Have a good one, mate.